It's been dark for 6 hours. The fire is down to embers. You hear something outside the cave that you cannot identify. Not a footstep, not an animal call. Something else. Something that sounds almost like a voice, but wrong. Your entire body locks up before your mind even processes what you heard. You don't move. You don't breathe loudly. Every person around you is doing the same thing. We tend to imagine ancient humans were mostly afraid of predators. Lions, bears, wolves. And they were, but that fear was simple. A predator is a problem with a solution. You see it, you respond, it's over one way or another. The fears that actually shaped human culture, human religion, and the architecture of the human brain were stranger than that. And most of them are still wired into you right now, lying dormant, waiting for the right kind of darkness. Let's start with the one most people get wrong. The dark itself, not what's in the dark. In 1998, researchers studying nyctophobia, the fear of darkness, found something unusual. The fear isn't really about not being able to see. It's about not being able to predict. When your vision disappears, your brain doesn't go quiet. It goes into overdrive. It starts generating threats to fill the gap. Every rustle becomes a creature, every shape becomes a face. This isn't a malfunction. It's a feature. For 2 million years, the dark was when most predator attacks happened. Cave hyenas hunted at night, specifically because human night vision was terrible. So evolution did something efficient. It made the absence of information itself feel dangerous. Your brain treats uncertainty as a threat, even when nothing is actually there. That's not a personality flaw. That's a survival algorithm still running in 2026. Every time you walk into your house and don't turn the lights on fast enough. But there was something ancient humans feared more than the dark. And it's the one most people never think about. The dead, not death. The dead, the bodies themselves. Across nearly every early human culture archaeologists have studied, burial practices show something consistent. Bodies were often buried face down, or weighted with stones, or bound at the wrists and ankles before burial. In some Neanderthal sites, bodies show signs of deliberate positioning that goes far beyond simple disposal. Why would you bind the body of someone you loved? Anthropologists call this revenant fear. The fear that the dead might come back, not as a ghost in the way we think of it now, but as something that could return to the group, hungry, changed, dangerous. Death was not fully understood as an ending. It looked too much like sleep, and if it was just a different kind of sleep, what happened when it woke up? This fear is one of the oldest documented human behaviors, and it never really left. It became funeral rites. It became closed coffins. It became the unease almost everyone feels standing too close to a body. Even one they love deeply, even one they know cannot move. Then there's a fear that's almost the opposite. Not fear of something coming back, fear of something leaving. The sky. Solar eclipses appear in the mythology of nearly every ancient culture independently, and almost always as the same story. The sun is being eaten. A monster, a dragon, a wolf, devouring the source of all light and warmth in multiple cultures separated by oceans. With no contact with each other, people responded to eclipses by making noise, banging pots, shouting, screaming at the sky. They were trying to scare it away. Think about what an eclipse actually is from the perspective of someone with no concept of orbital mechanics. The single most reliable thing in your entire existence, the thing that has never once failed to return, starts disappearing in the middle of the day. Animals go quiet, the temperature drops, birds go to roost. If the sun can fail, what else can? This is the fear beneath the fear. Not the eclipse itself, but what it implied, that the rules might not be rules, that the foundation might not be solid. Ancient humans built entire religious systems, entire priesthoods, entire calendars, around the need to prove to themselves that the sky was predictable after all. But the fear that might have shaped us the most wasn't the dark or the dead or the sky. It was each other, specifically strangers. For most of human history, an unfamiliar human walking into your camp was one of the most dangerous things that could happen to you. Not because all strangers were hostile, because you had no way to know. You couldn't read their intentions. You didn't know their alliances. You didn't know if they were scouting for a larger group. In 2007, researchers studying infant behavior found that babies as young as 6 months show measurable stress responses to unfamiliar faces, a phenomenon called stranger anxiety that emerges with remarkable consistency across every culture studied, regardless of how that culture raises its children. This isn't taught, it's installed, and it explains something deeply uncomfortable about human history. Nearly every culture developed an instant automatic category system for sorting people into us and everyone else. Not because ancient humans were uniquely cruel, because for most of our history, that snap judgment was the difference between a peaceful encounter and an ambush. The cost of being wrong about a stranger was sometimes your life. The cost of being wrong about a friend was rarely anything at all. So the brain weighted the scales. Trust slowly, suspect quickly. That wiring is still in you. It's why first impressions form in milliseconds. It's why unfamiliar faces, unfamiliar accents, unfamiliar customs can trigger a flicker of unease before a single conscious thought occurs. Not because the feeling is correct, because the feeling is old. Older than agriculture? Older than language? Probably. So what do all four of these fears have in common? The dark, the dead, the sky, the stranger. None of them are about the thing itself. They're all about the unknown wearing different costumes. The dark is unknown space. The dead are an unknown state. The eclipse is an unknown sky. The stranger is an unknown person. In every case, the actual fear isn't the object. It's the absence of information about what that object might do next. And here's the part that should unsettle you a little. We solved almost all of these. We have electric light. We understand orbital mechanics. We have explanations for death that don't involve revenants. We meet strangers constantly and mostly survive it. But the fear didn't go away. It just lost its target. The same circuitry that once kept your ancestors alive by treating uncertainty as danger is still firing every single day in a world that's mostly safe. It shows up as anxiety with no clear cause, as the unease of an unfamiliar room, as the way bad news at night feels heavier than the exact same news in daylight, as the way an unread message from an unknown number can spike your heart rate before you've even opened it. You're not broken. You're not anxious for no reason. You're carrying a 300,000-year-old alarm system that was built for a world with no light switches, no calendars, and no way to know who was walking toward your fire. The world changed, the alarm didn't get the memo.